Okay, so I'm going to tell you who I am in a moment, but first off, what I'm going to tell you is what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk a bit about social, we're going to talk about SEO, we're going to talk about how the two interact together, so search and social, why you want to be paying attention to both of these things, and what the future of this all looks like. Very important for any web-based business. Now, my name is Duane Forrester. I'll be leading you on this little journey today. I actually work at Bing. My day job, is actually working with the Webmaster Tools program. So if you have a website, you want to get in there and get the tools. They're free, and we're going to give you all kinds of information. If I have time at the end, I'll show you a couple of slides of the actual tools themselves, but we'll get to that later. So I work with Webmaster Tools. I have been doing this for well over 12 years now. I do run my own websites. I do make money off my own websites. I've written 2 books about this stuff, so I actually do know what I'm talking about. So there you go. But I guarantee you when we get to Q&A, someone will ask me a question I won't have an answer to. There you go. If you do need to reach out to me at any point, at Duane Forrester finds me quickly, and I do respond directly to people. I'm super easy to get a hold of. Any questions you have, feel free to reach out. If I don't know the answer, I generally know the owner of the product, so I can figure out who that is and get you your answer. All right, talk just for a minute here about what's new at Bing. If you haven't been following the recent news, we've had obviously a lot of news coming out with Windows 8 just launching, and yesterday with Windows Phone 8 as well. But prior to all of that, we were busy at Bing, and we have these partnerships in place with the biggest social media outlets online. And this information gets integrated directly into search, all right? Now, this is not a sales pitch. You should be using Bing, has better quality results. That was a sales pitch. This, however, is what's going to show you the best results for you. Now, if you think about that from your business perspective, how do you actually get the best result for your client? Because if you can wow your client, if you can make them impressed with you, they're going to talk to other people about that. We as a search engine with these social partnerships see all of that information, all of that conversation that happens across these outlets. We see all of that, and we understand sentiment. So then we know when someone's pleased with you or displeased with you. Now, them being displeased with you doesn't hurt you in your rankings. However, enough displeasure points to a problem. But a little bit of displeasure that maybe you jump on top of very quickly and you say, okay, I have a problem, I'm going to get on that problem, I'm going to solve your problem. That shows us that you're investing in your clientele. What's really critical to remember is Bing's job isn't to be your best friend. The search engine's job is not to show you or you or you as number one. Our job is to give the best set of search results to every query every time. That's our job. Your job is to prove to us that you're that number one, that you are that authority that we should be showcasing. So these areas matter. We have partnerships with these things, and you'll see these things inside the results. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute and how that's changing the interface that the average searcher has online. So, sorry, I missed one here. There we go. Along with this, there's actually tools that we've built, and this is my team's area, the Webmaster area. These are tools we've built specifically to help you do SEO. Is anybody doing SEO here? Raise your hands if you perform SEO on a website. Raise your hands if you know what SEO is. Raise your hands if you don't know what SEO is. Okay. Anyone? You, sir. Do you know what it is? Oh, you're just rubbing your lip. Okay. That's fine. That's okay. So we got all kinds of stuff in here. We've got actual reports. Back a number of years ago, I used to help run the MSN SEO program. We built a tool that does SEO at scale, okay? And scale is like the autos channel at MSN, just in the US, has 10 million pages on its own. And there were 172 channels worldwide that we did SEO for. So we needed a tool that was capable of scanning all of that and coming up with a list of work items. Because you can't go in and say, well, we have to edit page 744,312. Let's go find it and edit it today. So we need a tool. Those tools that we built starting 4 years ago are now what power SEO Analyzer and SEO Reports, freely available to anyone who signs up. Those are the tools that are actually going to tell you what work you need to do for SEO, greatly simplifying it. And it's not just altruistic. That's not the reason that we do this, right? The reason we do this is because if we can help you provide a better quality product, our search results improve as well. So we're willing to partner with every business to help them be more successful. That helps us in the long run. Was anybody used to using Yahoo Site Explorer? Anybody hear about that? You know what that tool is? Anyone? You don't count. He doesn't count because he works on my team. So he doesn't count at all. Okay, Yahoo Site Explorer. So I'll give you a bit of background on this. And then when I'm done with the background, you're all going to go, ooh, ah, because it is that cool. And then I'll tell you that it doesn't exist anymore. And then you'll go, oh. And then I'll tell you how we brought it back. So Yahoo Site Explorer is a tool that allowed you to dig up link information. Now, everybody knows that links are important in the world of search, right? It's a way for a site to vote for another site to say, this is important. I believe it's important for this. It's also a great way for a business to send traffic directly from themselves to another website. Those links are highly prized, and that tool was actually developed to help anyone do competitive research on any website. So I could look at my competitors and say, who's linking to my competitors? And then ask them why they're not linking to me, and then suggest they should link to me as well. I could look up information on which words they were using, so the actual anchor text. Those words help the search engine understand what the site is relevant to on the other side of the link. So I could look up information that's important to me and see who's linking to who using those words, and would they put up links to me. That information is all available again through Link Explorer. So really highly useful information in there for you. All right, so today this is what you guys are kind of used to seeing, because I know everybody in the room here is using Bing, so this is nothing new for you guys, but you're starting to see things like, okay, is it just me or is that slightly out of focus? No, guys, is that, I don't know, twist the ring or something now? Okay, apparently it's not the machine. It's all y'all. Okay, so I'm going to look at this one because this one's in focus for me. So the little annotations there with the little arrow on it, the thumb sitting next to it, we actually did this originally. If you actually hovered over something or you were just looking at it, the people, your friends who liked an object would show up automatically. And what we learned in our first run of testing this with people was that they thought that was really cool. They wanted social embedded into the search experience because we trust crowdsourced information. So we go to Angie's List and we find out who's a good plumber. We trust professional ratings. We know if Ebert says that's a good movie, it's a good movie. But we trust our friends and family far more, and we will go to them. In fact, 80% of people will delay making a purchase online until they've talked to a friend or a family member. That's powerful. Now, if your friend or family member shows up in the search results saying, I love this camera, your delay of making that purchase is suddenly gone. You've got their vote of confidence. You know this already. That is incredibly powerful for a business. Now, what we've learned, though, is that people didn't always want the faces staring at them in their search results. So now the little thumb shows up next to a result. You hover over it. You see who likes it. Very straightforward. You'll see information that's trending, give you an idea where it's trending. And then the more recent developments are areas like this, where you will actually see things like clout and Twitter and information from these services, these trusted services, showing up in the search results, telling someone, hey, for this query, this person's important. And that really then helps them understand that, okay, this is an expert, I should listen to their voice on this matter. I'm looking for something about this topic. This person is cited as an expert by a third party. What do they have to say about it? So really compelling stuff, okay? And while I am using examples from Bing here, guys, that's because on the top of every one of my pay stubs is the word Microsoft, all right? You'll also see these sorts of changes going on at our lesser-known competitor, right? So I'll try that one on for size. You guys are like my test audience for new jokes, right? So this is it. If it plays well here in North Carolina next week, they're going to get a whole other version of it. All right. But ultimately, we have to figure out why social matters to search. A while back, say 3 years ago, social wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, it was a big deal, don't get me wrong, right? We were all over Farmville, we were all over Facebook, we were all over Zynga, we were all over these places. But they weren't connected in any meaningful way to search. So now we have an opposite scenario where social is highly connected to search. But more importantly, what's happening is social is allowing a business to connect directly to the searcher, the user, in the context of the relationship formed with the business and the transaction. And that then influences the search the user makes at a search engine. So social is highly important. It's a signal of topical authority for us. All right, and I'll give you an example of this. Anybody here on Twitter? 4 of you, seriously. Okay. All right, so we're all on Twitter, right? So anybody using an auto follower on Twitter? You ever sign up for one of those things? Right? Yeah, so I signed up for one once. And the way it works is this. You pay your like $8, I think I paid this company, and it automatically finds people that are like me and has my account follow them. And because those people are also within their network, they automatically follow me. So overnight, I had 3,000 people following me, just like that, for $8. And I thought, damn, that's kind of awesome. I've got amplification. I mean, I've got reach now. Yeah. So the problem with that is the search engine looks at this and says, Duane, right. So you're following 3,000 people, and 3,000 people follow you. Well, now, assuming that Duane's a human being, there's no possible way he can consume the output of 3,000 people over a 24-hour period. So if everybody started talking on Twitter, which they don't shut up, there's no way I could consume all of that information. So essentially, the search engine calls bullshit. And it says, no, that's a net zero. 3,000, 3,000, no value. On the other hand, I turned this thing off because I realized, we'll call that a social experiment, and it crapped out. Then I decided to do it the old-fashioned way. I decided to automate my social media. It's the real old-fashioned way. How can I do a lot very simply? But what ended up happening was I started actually tweeting out meaningful things, finding good news stories, adding links to things, doing stuff that really matters to people when they consume stuff, information socially, and thousands of people followed me, but I didn't have to follow anyone. So 5,000 people follow me, I follow 200. Well, 200, I can actually consume the information from those people that are tweeting at me. But more importantly, what that imbalance of numbers tells the search engine is that my voice is in demand. People want to hear what I have to say. So that type of, we'll call it a disparity in this case. Does someone have a meeting? Need to be somewhere? Right? Okay. That type of thing is a signal of topical authority. It means that your voice is in demand. And every business can do this. You have to be careful. You don't friend everyone. You don't follow everyone just because they followed you. You have to deliver value. You have to bring them something that they say, I'm not getting this anywhere else. This is awesome. That's what you have to go with. And that's why we're looking at it. We're looking at it because it's real time. We want stuff instantly. This is why we partner with places like Twitter. Because as soon as it's happening, instantly. Last season, I was watching Dancing with the Stars, and every Tuesday night it used to piss me off because I'd have to sit through another hour of watching this show to find out who was booted off. So instead, I just said, screw that. I'm going to go watch what I want to watch on TV. And at the hour, I hopped on Twitter, hashtag DWTS, and automatically I knew who was booted off. Whole lot more useful and efficient, a lot more efficient for me and my time, right? But that's real time, okay? And that's what we're looking for through search. And as you start to see this, what you see is people are using this. You see people using mobile a lot more. Mobile is anything, a smartphone, a tablet, that kind of thing are all considered mobile. So you see people looking for that type of information, right? Have you guys come across the concept of the dual screen living room, where you've got your laptop and you've got your television on, or now the tri-screen where you've got your, tablet and... So I'm literally going to be sitting on my, this is going to be my life. My phone, my laptop, my tablet, 2 dogs, my big screen. Somewhere in the room is my wife. That's where we're headed to here. But the search engine's still looking for all this information, right? And these social pieces, we actually take signals from them. If people are interacting with you socially, we see that happening. And the more people are interacting with you, the more confidence they show in you, the more we want to know who you are. The more you look like an authority to us, the more likely we are to try you at the top of the search results stack. Now, this is the search that we're trying to solve for, right? 1 in 4 queries delivers a successful result. Another way to say that is 75% of them suck. 42% of sessions require refinement. Going back to the first one, we're not surprised because 3/4 of the time people need to refine what they asked for. 44% of sessions are lasting more than a day. Now, what's important to note in this is that I'm not talking about queries. I'm not talking about searches. I'm talking about the concept of a session, okay? I'm going to use myself again as a guinea pig because I've signed my own waiver forms. So bought a new truck last fall, decided I need a new bumper after a gal was texting and driving and drove under my bumper. So, yeah, destroyed her mom's car, did nothing to my truck. But I used it as an excuse to buy a new bumper. So, problem was, when I started this research, I was like, okay, well, I want the bumper for the truck. I know what I want. Big, steel, custom-made, destroys things when they hit it. But you can't just go online and say, big, steel, custom-made bumper that destroys things when you hit it, because nobody's optimizing for that. So you get a whole lot of different things coming back. So what we're learning from all of this is that that session is lasting more than a day. So when I went in and looked for it, it took me 3 weeks to find what I was looking for. So the concept, the session, is I'm shopping for a bumper for my truck, and it just continues. Does anyone use Evernote? I love Evernote, except when my synchronization fails constantly. I get it, it failed. It's because I'm not connected. Lovely. Okay. So you guys have to understand that as well, because people coming to your business are actually coming to you in more than one instance for more than one reason, even though it's all under the same umbrella, the same topic. And that concept is a session. It's really important that you guys look at things that way. So almost 50% of times is on sessions lasting more than 30 minutes. That's a long time for people to be searching for something. And to be clear, search is not the reason. Search is simply the vehicle. That's it. What they're looking for is you and your product and your services. They're not looking for our actual search interface. We are just the vehicle that gets them there. 50% of these are returning to previous tasks. Again, I start my research on Monday night. By Thursday night, I'm still looking for that information, but I'm refining it. That's what I'm continually doing. Still the same topic. I'll give you guys a hint on this, though. If you watch your logs, your data, and you see the keywords that people are using and how they come to your website, when you see them stop searching with plural and you see them start searching with singular of a word, that means they're ready to make a purchase. Because when you're doing research and you're looking for digital cameras, you want to know what's out there. You want to know the brands, the models, the makes, the reviews. You want all of that information. But when you tell me you want a digital camera, you want to make a purchase. So that's a little clue as to what people are up to. And that information, this will help you understand that. The fact that, well, these people are coming back 50% of the time to finish something they started. And most of their time they're looking for stuff, it takes them more than 30 minutes. If you're looking for the weather or you want to know what the update is on Sandy on the East Coast, that stuff's going to take you seconds to blow through. But realistically, it takes people a lot longer to find this information. Now, we've got to deal with all this stuff. I say we, meaning the search engines, and we've got all of these types of things going on. So we have to deal with this kind of real-time fire hose of information, Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare. We have to understand who people are on the internet, because each one of you is a person on the internet, but there's only one Sir Mix-a-Lot. Does anybody get that reference? No, he was here last year at the conference, and rumor is he was here yesterday too, so we'll try a different one. Jessica Biel, okay, right? Some of you may be Jessica. One of you may even be Jessica Biel, but you're probably not that Jessica Biel. We as a search engine need to understand that. We have to figure out what services are, and apps, right? You guys all have smartphones, you like apps, that's awesome. Apps are a very refined search experience. That's what apps are, very smart, very refined search experience. We have to understand what they're important for, where they are important, and how to integrate these things. We've got multimedia information coming through. Flickr, Qwik, YFrog, this kind of stuff. And when I get you to the data, the actual amount of information that's being posted on here, it's kind of staggering how much we use this stuff. Places and things. You said Subway. Did you mean the restaurant or did you mean the transit authority? That's what we're trying to understand from you. And we've got to figure it out across devices. You got tablets, you got smartphones, you got non-smartphones. You've got, netbooks, you've got ultrabooks, you've got all kinds of different sizes, all the way up to, I just heard yesterday, my lead engineer has a 32-inch monitor at his home for his computer. I'm profoundly jealous, but I couldn't sit far enough away from it. So we have to figure out all of this stuff, and you guys are playing in there. Luckily, people are leaving traces behind with us. They're giving us an idea of what they're doing online. 50 billion tweets are sent on Twitter in 2011. That number is going to continue to increase. That happens to be the last year that we have full numbers for. 60 hours of video every minute loaded onto YouTube. I mean, who's going to consume it all? How do you consume all that? But we have to figure out which one you want when you ask for a query. 28 photos every second uploaded to Flickr. That's not me. I only joined Flickr 2 weeks ago. 30 billion posts a month on Facebook. I mean, this is a staggering amount of information. It's also a staggering amount of opportunity to plug into and be a part of and interact with your businesses. Has anyone seen this photo before? was asked that. No one's ever seen this. So a couple of years ago, Facebook hired an intern, and you bring an intern in, and it's like, great, okay, we don't really have any work for you to do per se, so go do something. And so that intern decided to figure out who was linking to who around the world. And what they started doing was drawing lines from every individual to every connection they had, and then tracing back from all those connections to everyone else. And by the time they were done, you see planet Earth. This is not a map of the Earth with lines drawn over it. These are connections, person to person. Duane to Vincent is one line represented on this map. And when you see the coverage, what you actually see is the planet Earth minus Russia and China. So that's social. What's staggering about this to me is you can very clearly see where the West starts in the United States. Everything east of the Mississippi. Packed with people, connections are very tight. It's very obvious when you realize how Facebook started and grew. It started out of those Ivy League universities, and it grew out from there, so the entire eastern seaboard is just covered with Facebook connections. Obviously, there's nobody in the desert, so there's nobody connecting there. The West Coast has got some real good pops. What's important about this is the understanding that you are no longer able to ignore social media. It is a very large driver for business online. This is Twitter on New Year's Eve 2010. Interestingly, LA is the big plastic dot off on the left-hand side there. We've got a little bit going on in Seattle up there. But Twitter is a very interesting medium to watch what's going on, right? And to be able to see these things expand. Somebody wants to build an app that tracks the tweets in real time and just shows you in real time where things are expanding. That'd be a cool app to have. So what we're trying to understand is deeper meanings behind things. So we have Linda, and we do this quite a bit, where we will create a persona, and then we will try to understand the problem through Linda's eyes, and then solve the problem in a way that makes it easy and organic for Linda. So we understand some basic things about Linda. We don't understand a lot about Linda, though, right? We do know she's asked for a home gym, but we don't really understand what she means by that, like what does she want to purchase it, install it, sell one, set fire to it, impress her friends with it? We don't know, because Linda hasn't told us anything other than home gym. Now, if you overlay the social footprint of Linda on top of this, we realize that Linda is a professional yoga instructor. So that tells me a couple of things right off the bat. First off, if Linda's going to make a purchase, she probably wants something professional level. She doesn't want 1995 as seen on TV. That object won't meet her needs. Second, she's likely not into this to impress her friends. She's doing this for her own professional reasons. Third, you know what? It's safe bet that she's actually either looking to research more about a product to make a purchase, or because she feels there's a problem and she needs more information. But either way, that social graph helps us understand what the relevant results are for Linda. And Linda is actually representative of, obviously, hundreds of thousands of people. But this is how we're looking at it and trying to solve it. Now, the search that you guys are trying to solve for is a little bit different. Now, whether you purposely do this or not, you'll bucket everything you do. All the work you do will fall into basically these four main categories. And you'll be looking for quality, trust, popularity, and timeliness, whether you're optimizing your website, creating new content, or trying to manage a social media campaign. This type of information is useful for both of those instances. You want good content, you want to create good links for yourself, you want to appear as a good quality, you want to be seen as an authority, be useful, be noted as a resource. You want these things happening around your brand and product so that other people feel, hey, you are the resource I should turn to. You want to be popular, you want more traffic, you want more visitors, you want more friends, you want more followers, and obviously you want to be current. Now, current means different things. For a website, current just means the information is relevant today. Current in social media, however, means that it is the cutting edge. There is nothing fresher than this. And you have to be careful when you play in social media, because that currency, that timeliness, matters a great deal to your followers. So, this all stacks up. I get asked this question a lot, and people come to me and say, okay, Duane, you're an SEO. Where does SEO fit into the grand scheme of things? I spend an awful lot of time working on my SEO for my website. What should I be focused on? And in fact, this is how people should be focusing on things. Content is by far the most important object that you can invest in for your online business. No question, hands down, content wins every time. If you produce excellent content, people will find out about it and share it with their friends, their family, whoever. It doesn't really matter. But we will see them sharing, and then we will be drawn to you. If you wow that visitor on your website, we will follow them. That's how search works. Social, very important. That is a signal of authority for us. We're looking at that trying to understand some fundamental things. So if our job is to return the best set of results to a searcher, and your business sucks because everyone complains about you constantly over and over again, and you never engage with them, and you never solve the problem, why should we put you as the #1 result? Because we're reasonably sure that if we send our searcher to you, the searcher will have a poor experience with you. And when they have a poor experience with you, they blame us, because we were the one that brought it to them. So, social, highly important. User experience. There's a book called Don't Make Me Think by Tom Krug? Krug? Yeah, I can never remember his name. Steve Krug, that's it. Thank you, Vincent. That book, Don't Make Me Think. If you guys are at all interested in usability, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit older now, but the tenets are still very, very important today. We did this before we launched our new tools back in June. We did a bunch of usability testing. We actually brought webmasters in and said, complete this task. Here are the pathways you could follow to do this. Cost oodles of money to do the testing, but worth every penny of it. Because what came back to us was staggering. We had no idea that people saw things the way they did. And we actually thought, because we were webmasters ourselves, that we understood there was a common language across all of that. And it turns out that wasn't the case at all. It was startling for us to realize how far off the mark we were with labeling buttons, with placement of information, with what people expected to find when they clicked on an object because of the word that was used to label it. That usability testing is worth its weight in gold. It is incredible. That affects the user experience. So if you have good content, you're socially connected with people, and you have an excellent user experience, keep repeating it. Just keep that cycle going over and over and over again. You don't need to worry about SEO. You don't need to worry about link building. You do have to worry about your visitors, your users. And if you stay focused on them, they will amplify that. We will pick up on that, and then we will start ranking you better. Now, link building is up here because it is important, right? This is the currency of the internet. If somebody likes something, they put up a link to it, and it's a vote of confidence. It's still valuable to us, but I caution people about chasing links. There's the concept of link baiting, where you put something out just to get links. Okay, so the search engines, if we're not good at anything, we're really good at this one thing, and it's spotting patterns. We see patterns like no one else sees patterns, okay? You guys have a website. You see yourself. You see your competitors. You see your traffic. You have a reasonable inclination based on some competitive research that's out there of what your competitors are doing traffic-wise. We see absolutely everything on the internet all at once in one snapshot. So there may be patterns that you're involved in or that are influencing you that you have no idea about. So when it comes to things like link building, don't worry about it. If you put out excellent quality content and you engage with your people, those links will come to you naturally, and that's what you need to focus on. And SEO, you know what, SEO, we're at the point now where it's an accepted marketing tactic. You have to do it. There's a baseline that you need to meet, and then you move on. That's it. After that, once you've done that, you just make sure you don't regress. You don't roll back, okay? Having worked at MSN and done SEO for a number of years there, all too many times I've seen work that we've done get overwritten because somebody pushed out new information. And then the work that we'd previously done was dead. And then the numbers would start to fall, the rankings would fall, and everyone would be wondering why. And we'd find out after the fact that someone had pushed out a new update for the website, and it was exclusive of the work that we had done in SEO. So you do need to keep an eye on those things, but anybody using WordPress? Anybody? Yeah, okay. Yoast SEO plugin, okay? It's actually Y-O-A-S-T, I think. That's what I use on my WordPress sites. It's fantastic. It'll get the basics covered for you, and then you can stay focused on your content. It's important also to remember that SEO is just a marketing tactic, all right? It's really difficult if you are an SEO. It's really difficult if you're tasked with performing the work to be able to go back to your bosses, to go back to your organization and say, hey, here's the work we have to do. Here's the expected return that we're going to get on it. Then you have to track it through. The work has to get implemented. You're spending companies' resources. There's a lot of work around this. But what's really important is that the whole organization understands that it's a part of a balanced approach. It is just one tactic. So you never walk into it and say, hey, you know what? We are only going to do SEO, and we are never going to do paid search. That's great, right up until a search engine changes its algorithm and you lose your rankings. Then there goes all your traffic as well. And now you're scrambling for a way to figure out how to make up that traffic. So don't get too caught up and focused on the SEO stuff. What is SEO? It's actually usability. That's what it is. It's improving the product. Back when I was a kid, a company called BASF used to have an ad that said, you know, we don't make the audio tape, we make the audio tape clearer. We don't make the speedboat, we make the speedboat faster. SEO doesn't make a website, it makes the website better. It's that simple. Now, you can just go in there and say, we are going to do content, we are going to focus on it, we are going to own it, we are going to nail it, and that's it. By all means, go ahead. And by and large, you can get away with it. If you do that, you can get away with skipping SEO. What SEO is not, it's not fast, it's not guaranteed, it's not once and done, and I guarantee you it's not free. So if your organization is looking at SEO and saying, wow, we can spend $10,000 a month employing you, or we can spend $10,000 a month in paid search, you know what? We're going to employ you, and we're going to get all our traffic for free. No, doesn't work that way. You still have to invest in infrastructure changes, so your engineers are going to be busy. That is a cost, a hard cost to your business. You as the SEO come with a cost and benefits and everything else. So in fact, there's nothing free about this stuff. All right, so this next section, I'm going to go through this one a little bit quicker because what I want to make sure I do here is get over to a point where we can do some Q&A for you guys. This is basically the secrets of success, right? So build your social following and fans organically. Don't take shortcuts. You know, make sure you get those basics of SEO covered, all right? Now, a great way to do this, guys, seriously, and again, this is not a sales pitch, but if you want to know what to focus on for SEO, go in and use the SEO tools that we've built for you at Bing Webmaster. We will run the reports and tell you exactly what you need to work on. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Go take those signposts and say, this is the work I need to focus on, get that done, and there's more time left over for quality content, for focus on user experience, and for doing things like, and I'll mention this in a minute, it's a concept called conversion optimization. Is anybody doing conversion optimization right now? Has anybody not heard of conversion optimization? Awesome. Okay, so I'll get to it in a minute, and it's very important that you guys look into this. Compelling content. We do, the engines, we really do respond to compelling content. If you produce unique content that is excellent quality, fabulous. But please don't come to me and say to me, you know, we had this last week, I couldn't believe it. This guy pings us and says, my website isn't being indexed by the search engine. Why is that? So we went, we investigated, we took a look at it, and it turns out his entire website was based on scraping results from Amazon and then republishing them on his own domain and putting each one on a unique website or a unique URL and then putting that in his sitemap and then thinking that we would take that in. And so the response I sent back to him was, why the hell would I want your version of something I already have from the source? He went away. That is not compelling content. Now, you could argue that it is because it's a best-selling book. It's Oprah's book list. That would be compelling. It is compelling when Oprah publishes it. When you republish it and claim it as your own, well, that's just BS. And we know that. So, not going to work. Compelling content, useful, unique. The question that I always ask myself when I'm going to write out content, when I'm going to do anything on my own website, is what am I bringing to this topic that hasn't been covered before? Now, the answer to that is I should have done my research. I should have gone through and understood who the main players are on the topic. I should have been able to digest what they talked about, understand where the gaps are, reference them, and then fill in the gaps for somebody. So when I produce a piece of content, it's truly unique and useful to people. And you can do this in a lot of simple ways. It sounds like a lot of work, but the way that I suggest people do this is take your hint from successful sellers on eBay. When somebody sells on eBay today, what ends up happening is they get a feed of information, and in that feed comes a standard photo, a standard description, a standard pricing guide, and that's about it. So we all take the same feed, and we all have the same cordless drill that we want to sell on eBay. Now the challenge is, how do we differentiate? Well, you know, some of you have better sellers ratings and other people have poorer sellers ratings. Some people are going to talk about, they were mentioned in a local newspaper as a local business, and they're going to amplify that media mention. What I'm going to do is I'm going to order one of my products, that cordless drill, and I'm going to stand in my garage and I'm going to drill into everything. Concrete, bricks, wood, water, a pane of glass, and I'm going to videotape everything. And I'm going to put that video in as a part of my sales pitch. And then I'm going to take another step, and I'm going to tell you what the measurements are of the actual storage container that drill sits inside, because I know that you're not going to put the shipping box it comes in on your shelf, but you are going to keep it in its storage container. And those dimensions are going to be really important to you if you have a garage like mine, which is overflowing with crap. So those little things go a long way to differentiating you as the compelling object. That's how you create compelling content. You do those things that other people generally aren't doing. Now, what's important about that is it will take you some time. And in order for you to figure out what you invest in, you look at your statistics. I'm going to ask a question. I expect everyone to raise their hand on this. Do you have analytics enabled on your website? Excellent. There's a couple people in the back who are probably live chatting, so you're forgiven for not waving your hands there. Everyone's got analytics, and that's awesome, because those analytics are going to help you understand which of those objects you put that extra time in to create the compelling content around. Because the ones that are actually driving traffic to your website, the ones that are actually driving revenue on your website, those are the ones you dive deep on. Matt Bailey is the author of Internet Marketing in an Hour a Day, I think. I'm pretty sure that's his title. Anyhow, I know his name is Matt Bailey. And I watched a presentation Matt did a few months ago, and the thing that he talked about most was attach a dollar figure to everything, and then pivot all of your work around where the money is. So you have to figure out a dollar figure. So if you're selling a product or a service, this is pretty simple. You already have a dollar figure. You know what your profit margin is. Pretty straightforward. What about those of you who actually don't have it? And this is where I'm going to go back in my history. I used to work for Caesar's Palace. So we have this thing in the gambling world that's called life-to-date theoretical. And essentially what LTD is it's what determines whether you get free parking or a free dinner. That's what LTD does for a casino. It helps me understand what your future value will be based on past behavior. So if I know over the last month, every Friday night you've come in and you've gambled $10,000 with me, it's reasonable for me to say, next Friday night, I should give you a free hotel room because you're probably going to gamble $10,000 with me. That life to date, what it does is helps you understand the actual value of the individual person coming to you around a particular product. Then you can assign the dollar figure to the object and orient your work around those high profit areas. That's very important. Now, we've only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to move through this a little bit quicker, guys. I've only got a couple of slides left, so that works out well. Niche and voice, right? I did an interview 2 years ago with the New York Times. There were some food bloggers in New York who were really put out because every time they posted a recipe, all recipes and all these big name recipe websites outrank them. And they thought that that was inappropriate. They thought that the search engines should change and rank their local Brooklyn-based food blog ahead of this big place. In fact, what they said was, you probably do that because they spend millions of dollars of advertising with you, and that's why they rank well. It's not the case at all. The reason they rank well is because every time we give allrecipes.com results to searchers, they love it. So why would I take a chance on this no-name person whose only target is very niche? But that's actually the message for them. They have to focus in that niche. They have to pick something that they can own, because those big companies are really good at going broad and covering a lot of ground, but they're no good at diving deep into a niche and owning something. And that's where the small guy can make headway. And as you continue to crack and own those niches, you start to build a bigger footprint, because every single website that started as nothing. No one knew who it was. And then it became something. So you can exploit those niches, right? It's like segmenting your email list. You look at a subject line, you determine what works for that 100,000, what works for this 100,000, you send them both out, you get great rates on it. That's fantastic. You take that same approach when you look at your niche and your voice. When you're tweeting something, you're posting it on Facebook, hey, did you do something that was an ego play? Did you do something that was contrarian? Did you use humor? And what got the best response from people? And you keep track of that so you understand, look, if I crack a joke but I'm dry and witty about it, I get more responses than if I go for the obvious pun, because the people following you tend to follow that pattern. You can use that then to help shape what you're talking about and how you're talking about it to greater effect. Keyword research, this is the beginning of everything you do online. Keyword research. What this is going to tell you is who's searching and in what volumes they're searching and on what keywords. That is critical. So instead of you writing a blog post and guessing what the topic should be about, you can actually go in and both of the engines will give you this data for free and tell you, hey, look, here are the number of queries on that particular phrase. Oh, by the way, these phrases are related to what you just talked about, and here are the number of queries every time people look for on those. There are big differences though, okay? Google has a program. They will show you this information. It is for the last 30-day period. So today is the 30th. Right now, if you're looking in the Google AdWords keyword research tool, you're looking at the month of September, the full month of September. You're looking at that data. So you will not see anything in there that's worthwhile for Halloween. It's that far back. So we released a tool that does essentially the same thing, but gives you a 6-month window and you pick the dates on it. So you can go in and move things around and say, okay, over this period of time, what was the trend looking like on this? And what it does though is it helps you understand if there's seasonality on a phrase, and there's seasonality on everything. You might not think you have a seasonal product, but I guarantee you when you start laying out your keyword research, you will find seasonality on every single query. It's a given. And you have to be realistic about this stuff. This is a business, all right? You're not going to get rich overnight. The numbers aren't suddenly going to turn around tomorrow and be triple what they were. They may be 3 times lower than what they were yesterday, but they're not likely to be 3 times higher. So you have to treat this like it's an actual business. You have to plan your work and then work that plan. It sounds contrite, but it's true. It's very clear. You have to do those things. So if you actually have an SEO program or a paid search program or a social media program, start looking at ways at talking across those groups to make sure that everyone's aware of what they're talking about. The paid search guys want the keyword that converts the highest, gives the most money for the least amount of money spent, highest ROI. You, as an organic search marketer, need to know that as well, because you can drive people to them organically. And that then has an even higher ROI. So really important to look at that stuff. All right, these are the major investment areas for SEO. This is the slide that when you guys download this stuff later, you definitely want a copy of this. Crawlability, site structure, on-page, content, links, and social. That stuff is gold. These are conversations you need to have across all layers of your organization. These are the conversations that you have to have with every group in the organization to understand how they're adding to this or how they're actually not supporting this, and then ask why they're not supporting it. And in some cases, you'll all be at different points on every one of these conversations. But I'm telling you right now, you want to have these conversations in your organization. You want to find out where you stand with these things and whether they matter to you or not, right? These are really big deals. The reason this exists is because my boss pissed me off one day at work. And he told me that we had 2 minutes in an executive meeting to present all of the work we were going to cover for SEO across MSN. And the first 2 times he said it, I thought he was joking with me. And then he came back the 3rd time and said, "Are you ready for Thursday's presentation?" I was like, well, no. So SEO on one single slide, there you go. The crazy thing about this is every one of those could be its own session, right? So there's a lot to take away from that. Does everybody have their photos? You get a copy of this afterwards, so there we go. Now, conversion optimization. I mentioned this one a few minutes ago. Conversion optimization helps you streamline your sales funnel. That's what it does, okay? Your shopping cart. Do not assume that if you have a shopping cart in place that it's optimized just because you paid for it. That is not the case. You need to have somebody who's familiar with conversion optimization come through your website, and they will give you hints and tricks that you can employ that will increase email signups, that will increase or decrease the amount of abandons in your sales process. They will help you figure these things out. And the excellent thing about conversion optimization is when you hire that consultant and they come in and do it, they're done and they're done. Now you know what they know. You just continue to do it over and over again. So this is one of those rare instances where it is fire and forget. You do it once and that's the end of it. But incredibly important. It is a lot easier to get more money out of a current client than it is to go find new clients over and over again. That's been around since the 1920s, that axiom. It still applies today. Just because we're on the internet does not change that fact. All right, I'm going to go through this stuff quickly so we can move to a little bit of Q&A here. Is anybody here staying for the session afterwards, the hands-on workshop that we're doing? Anybody say, okay, so, okay. Well, I know you are, Reed. So, it's the other member of my team. You better be staying. This is what you guys are going to find at each of the engines. So there's all kinds of data here, right? And you want tool sets from both of the engines. This is a way to have a conversation with the search engine. This is where the search engine says, we found a problem, you need to fix it. Here's an item of information, you're missing this. We found malware on your website. Do you want to know about that? I guarantee you if we found malware on your website, you want to know instantly about it. So you go into these tools, you set up your email preferences, and if we find malware on your website, we email you immediately to let you know. Because the first clue that you're going to have if you don't do this is your traffic disappears. Because when we find malware on your website, you stop showing up in the search results. You stop showing up, traffic stops flowing, you're wondering what the heck happened. These tools are a conduit to that information, helps you understand it. The main difference between them is in Bing, we actually have a bunch of things in here that Google hasn't produced tools around, but we have them in there. The Link Explorer, the SEO information, all kinds of stuff. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this stuff because we can cover it in the next session. This is what the actual SEO analyzer looks like and what it tells you. So if you want to understand SEO and it's new to you, you can actually go in and see this, and we explain to you right there why this object is a problem and why you want to fix it. So it gets to that granular level. So the organic tool fetches Bingbot's kind of cool because it will show you exactly what the crawler is seeing. So if there is a problem, if somebody's injected links on your website or they've hijacked something, you will see what we are seeing. So that's really useful. Link Explorer, we talked about that earlier, and I'm going to leave us here on our wrapping up. So you can take these things to heart, but if you leave here with nothing else, user experience is your religion. You have to focus on it. If you wow the visitor, they will amplify you. We pick up on that, and then we want to know you. If you don't, if you're just kind of a so-so experience, we pick up on that too. And our job is always to put the best results forward. So you have to and want to be that authority. Guys, anytime you can reach out to me at Duane Forrester on Twitter. I'm easy to get a hold of. I do respond pretty quickly usually if I'm awake. And that's about it. If anyone's sticking around, we do have in the first 3 rows here power. So if anybody's going to be here for the workshop, we've got power up here if you need it. So, oh, I'm sorry, I should have announced that earlier, because now she's looking, where's the power? I could have used that. And thank you very much for your time, gang. I appreciate it. Are there any questions? Does anyone have questions? Because we have a mic right here, and I'm happy to answer some questions.
What's the name of the Bing keyword tool?
Bing keyword tool. Dorothy. It could be either. It's inside the Webmaster tools. So that's it. If you actually just go and do a search on Bing Keyword Research Tool, it'll be the first one that shows up. There's a marketing page you'll land on. Log into the free account, and the tool's right there. That's it.
I have a question about how you use social and determining influence.
Okay.
So totally understand how it's an important signal of authority, and Twitter obviously is public. Facebook, where most of the action happens, is not. Most of my likes are just to my friends. And can you speak a little bit about, to what extent you're able to use likes, for example, or sharing within Facebook as a broader measure?
Yeah, you need to think broader than that, right? So we, as I mentioned earlier, I showed you that slide at the beginning, right? Those businesses are not up there because we like them. We actually have partnerships with Facebook, Quora, all of these guys, which means we have access to that data, okay? So we can see the public data that everybody else sees. That's easy enough. We can send out a crawler and bring the data back, but we don't need to take that step. We actually have all that data that's in behind that login structure, all right? So what we'll be looking for is, like, if people are liking you and then suddenly you become a big deal, not to imply you're not a big deal, but let's say you became a celebrity this afternoon, as that continues to ramp up, then we're seeing that. We're seeing not only the number of likes pop up, but we're seeing the proximity, the amount of time. And then we're seeing it in other areas. A news service picks up on you and says, hey, he's a celebrity now, and there you go. So we're correlating all of these signals from a lot of different places. And what we're then saying is, okay, the likes, those are real. That's not gaming the system. Because we're also seeing a pop. His clout is going up. We're seeing a bunch of new people following him on Twitter. We're seeing him answering questions in Quora that are related to this topic. So we see all of those signals coming in. So we don't just look at one single signal and say, wow, look at that. A crap ton of people like this. We should rank that highly. We look at it in context and then try to understand from there, okay, is it real or is it being gamed somehow?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else? Anything? I've got 2 dogs. We can talk about dogs.
Well, I'll ask another question in that case.
Okay, yes.
To what extent does Yahoo search mirror Bing in terms of results and improvements, especially in the quality of the search experience and so forth?
Okay, so the reality is that all of Yahoo's results are powered by Bing's engine, right? That shouldn't be news to anyone at this stage, but we do power them. Yahoo does, however, retain the right to kind of put a filter over their results. So we give them the base set, and then they may tweak them for their own reasons. And that will show you, you do a search on Yahoo, you do a search on Bing, they might not match exactly. That's it, right? The depth and where they do that, not something I can talk about. But they are allowed to do it. They are encouraged to do it. It is their set of results after we've provided it, so they can tweak as they see fit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So inside the Bing Webmaster tools, we're going to show you like all kinds of data on the amount of the keywords that people have clicked on, how many people have come to you, what your ranking was, and that data is actually across both Bing and Yahoo search results. So if somebody is taking an action in Yahoo and they click on a phrase and come to your website, you'll see that inside our tools as well, because again, we provide that search result, so it makes sense to pull that data together. Anyone else? Anything? Okay, not all at once. Calm down. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm happy to take any questions you have, guys. I'm actually in here for the next session. We're doing a workshop, a hands-on workshop. So if you have a Webmaster Tools account, you're either here for the workshop or you want to hang out for the workshop, by all means do so. In a couple of minutes, we'll get going on that, and then we can actually go hands-on and help people understand how to use the tools, what they're seeing in there, and how to kind of come to some conclusions from the data that they are seeing. Cool. Thank you very much, guys.